everyone. Welcome to Taqueando. I'm your host, Bill Esparza, and this week we're actually going to go on a taco crawl of Los Angeles. I know you've been waiting for this. I mean, it is Taqueando, so we do have to have some tacos here and there. Speaking of tacos, when you see me out there in the wild, I was at 3 events this weekend. I told you that already. And at one of the events, I ran into a wonderful person, a follower, a reader. I hope he's a reader, but he seems to know all the little spots. He talked about Mariscos Los Corchos, and he goes all the way out there. And I always say when I write about these far away places that there's some crazies out there that will actually go, and he's one of those people. So I really like that. He's a reader. He follows me. His whole little group was very nice, and I talked to them for a minute. But sometimes people just start to tackle me automatically without like thinking that I'm a human, man. So I was at an event, one of the 3 events with my roommate from college. Come on, like can you imagine? We don't get to spend that much time together. We've all gone off in our lives, and so we actually connected. Hadn't seen him in a while, so we're trying to talk, and somebody comes up to me and says hi, but starts to taco me, like starts to talk about, like, I want to talk about tacos with you. Okay. Maybe if you're a real follower and a reader, even better. But they were talking about Sonora Town, and they were asking me if I thought they should go. And I'm like, you're grown men. You can pick a taqueria for yourself. You could look at it. And I said, I do write this Eater 38 guide. It's the 38 essential tacos in Los Angeles. Now, I wasn't trying to blow them off, but I kind of feel like if you're going to interrupt me while I'm talking to my college buddy, then you should at least have read my damn article. Give me some clicks. I want 5 clicks for that shit. And so anyways, they're talking about Sonora Town. And I said, well, you guys sound very curious. You should go. I mean, if you have curiosity, that's kind of the whole thing. And then they start going back and forth about the flour tortillas. And I won't tell you about the other boring parts of the conversation, but they're going back and forth about the flour tortillas. They're like, oh, I think they actually make them in house. Like, I care. I don't care, because before they were actually bringing them from Sonora, and those might even be better. I don't know that their tortillas are better or equal or what I'm sure both are great. I always love Sonora Town, but I also know that if you're in Sonora, the majority of the taquerias are not making their own flour tortillas. They're buying them from experts that make them. Tortillerias that specialize, even famous vendors that make these. Like there's this one woman, Doña Guille, who makes her sobaqueras, and everybody buys those. Everybody uses those at the stands. So like, you don't need to make your own. But I trust Sonora Town, if they're making them, that there's a reason, and perhaps it's economical, perhaps it's pragmatics, perhaps it's a better tortilla, but they're happy with it, and I trust them. So, these guys are sitting there having this conversation in front of me. So I realize that this does come up. Some of you, like, okay, maybe you have read my list and you've really tried, and you've even read the blurbs, all 38 blurbs. Did you do that? I figure if you read the blurbs that you'd be in on some of these places, like you'd buy in, or you trust me as a tastemaker. But I realize some of you still need guidance. And apparently these guys probably could have used a little, like, some of my 3 favorite spots or my little tips, or put a crawl together for me. But, I just didn't have time for that. And it wasn't anything personal. They were fine people. But like I said, I was with somebody having a good time and not really wanting to be tacoed by randos out there. But, the thing about the Eater 38 tacos, I've been in charge of it for a while. There's a lot of places that have remained. And even though there's a lot of new places all the time, they're not always better. I'm always looking for somebody very, very special to enter that list. And we don't do big overhauls. It's like 3 or 4, 3 on, 3 off, and that's it, right? And for me, that's got to be somebody really good, or something interesting, or somebody of the moment to take that spot. But for me, it really comes down to like why I pick places to be on that list. I'm very, very finicky about certain things. I'm a willing prisoner of the concept. And, there's innovation out there, but this happens everywhere, within traditions and authentic places. Yes. Places that are adhering to the local styles. This is authenticity. I say this word all the time. I don't give a fuck what you think about that. I'll say it again, authentic. But authentic is not static. It changes, it evolves. So like quesabirrias are a more recent innovation. Tacos de camarón enchilado in Tijuana also are from recent decades. Tacos de guisado stands in Ciudad de Mexico, serving tacos de chiles en nogada, or those wonderful queso carnes in Tepito. Even tacos árabes, they're a 20th century innovation. They weren't around, hundreds of years ago. But remember, all tacos come from indigenous culture. Indigenous people made tortillas. They invented the corn. They invented nixtamal. They created tortillas, and they picked up their food with the tortillas, and that's the original taco, picking up food. Taqueando, that's the whole essence, man. It's indigenous, okay? But, to me, all these things matter. I want to make sure that the salsas match the concept, that the tortillas are the right tortillas. I want seasoned taqueros. I want family recipes. These are the things that get me excited and make me want to write about you. If somebody says they're from Quiroga, Michoacan, I'm like, okay, and I see this a lot, and I see people write about these places. Oh, these guys are from Michoacan, and I look, and there's no salsas that come with that style. And so if you're from Quiroga, and I've been there, I've been to that plaza and had these wonderful storied carnitas, but they have salsas and sides that are at all the stands. They all have pico de gallo, chiles en escabeche. They all have amarillos, those pickled chile manzano. The pickled chile manzano is a flavor that's very essential to Quiroga style. Guacamole, nopales, a spicy salsa roja, beans. I heard that somewhere that, the only true carnitas taco is just the carnitas in the tortilla, but that's ridiculous. First of all, you get to make your own taco. You don't have to put any of this stuff I'm talking about in it. If you are in Quiroga, you can do whatever you want. It's your taco. But the taco de prueba, the one that you try out, they do hand this to you when you walk up because they want you to taste the quality of the meat. They want you to know that it's great. That is true. That part is true. They hand that to you, and it's usually a small little taquito with a little bit of the meat, and you're like, okay, that's amazing. I'm in. I'm going to buy. Give me 5. And so all the stands do that. They do that at barbacoa stands. It's a promotion. It's an incentive to get you to buy. But when you buy your tacos, you get to put whatever you want on it. So if you want it with nothing, that's fine. That's not me. I want a little bit of that pickling juice. I definitely want the amarillos. I want those chile manzano. I want guacamole. And if I'm in Morelia, the way they do it there, I want the refried beans and the wonderful guacamole. It's a traditional guacamole, more pure avocado. So in Morelia, you get that. There are a lot of sit-down places. Another item that when you have a sit-down tacos de carnitas place is the soricua, the blood sausage. So I want to make some, I want to have some blood sausage tacos, some carnitas. I want to dress them the way I want. And again, if you want to eat them without any condiments, just a little pickling juice, that's fine too. That's the way we do it at Carnitas El Momo. That's where they're from. That's sort of the tradition. So yeah, when I'm in Salamanca or if I'm at Carnitas El Momo, I want to do that, But if I'm in Quiroga, you got to fly there. I actually booked a taxi and went there just for that one day. And so if I'm going all that way, I want all the salsas. And that's what I want here in Los Angeles too. Don't forget it, okay? If I go to Ensenada, I want all those salsas and cremas. I don't want just 2 salsas. I don't want just pico de gallo crema and 1 salsa. I want the salsa bar. I want all the salsas. I want the crema de chipotle. I want the crema de chile serrano. I want those salsas. I want it all. So for me, these are the things I think about when I'm selecting places. So, for example, if I were to take my list, forget about taco crawls, okay? We're going to get to the taco crawls. But a place I will drive 2 hours to go to is Tacos de Cabrito y Machito el Lagunero. I love that place. It's in Moscoy, And I'm very happy that, things have been really bad in Moscoy and the residents have been, having to stay home, but now they're slowly coming out. So Tacos de Cabrito is back in business. I love this style, this spit roasted kid. I love what they're doing out there. The caldo de cabrito is amazing. The tacos, the machitos, it's amazing. And it's the only place in California where you can have spit roasted kid tacos. And some idiot started arguing with me on my Instagram years ago when I posted about this. And they were like, "Oh, I'm a chef and I'm at Outstanding in the Field and we do that all the time." I'm like, "Oh my God, these people, man." No, chef, whoever you are, chef nobody at Outstanding in the Field that nobody knows. People know Outstanding in the Field, but not this random chef. The salsas that go with this dish, the traditional sides, that makes the taqueria. Right, I said that before. I just said that. And that's what's important. Not that you can spit roast a kid. Anybody can spit roast a kid. But if you're not coming from there, you don't have the recipes that come with it that make the whole thing, then you're not really doing that. So this is a unique place. I love going out there, and really only special people get to go. And Mariscos Los Corchos, they keep moving. It's driving me nuts. Will you please stay in one place? But they keep moving, and I'm glad they're still open though. But they've moved farther away just recently. That's also a very worthwhile place. I love them. This family is nuts. They actually import these little beans. They're not peruanos, what we call Peruvian beans, which are Mexican. They're not Peruvian. They bring a smaller yellow bean that has a very similar look and shape, but they bring those from their hometown. And honestly, I tell them, I go, "Will you please just use peruanos? Because you can't tell the difference, when you add the lard and you do everything. I mean, come on, there's no way, excuse me, there's no way the customer can tell. I can't tell. And if they could do it, I'll never know. But they care so much about, bringing the flavors of their region that they bring these beans. So that's really special to me. That's what I'm looking for, places like that, places that are super special. Taquiarte. I love that they're doing Mexico City style tacos a la plancha. And I tell you, there's no place better in LA just to try regional, creative, innovative salsas. Go there. The salsa bar that they put out for you, the little small dishes of salsas they put on the table, are mind-blowing. And they also have the best chilaquiles in Los Angeles. So these are things that get me excited. La Carreta is another one that I really love. And people get in these arguments, "Oh, I think this place is better." I don't really care. Look, what I care about is Tacos La Carreta tastes exactly like the tacos that you have in Mazatlan. They are spot on in their presentation, the flavors, the salsas. So you can tell me whatever you want. I'm going to keep going back to that place because I love Mazatlan. I've been there dozens of times, and La Carreta brings that to me. Like they bring that energy, that nighttime Mazatlan experience, So let's do this. Let's talk about some different taco crawls. Now that now you know a little bit about the list. But first, at Taqueando, eating antojitos is a way of life, from the world's most celebrated dining rooms to the gritty stands and storied market stalls that preserve culture. Life is short, so we must eat well. And here are this week's Antojitos Rundown. This was another epic week of eating. To start, on Thursday night, I was lucky and fortunate to attend the Real Minero Mezcal dinner at Damian. So Real Minero is a woman-owned palenque. That's a distillery. And Graciela is a legend, and she came to Damian to present her mezcal. She was in town for Mezcal por Siempre, the mezcal event, the second annual mezcal event that was put on Saturday by Ivan Vasquez of Madre. And of course, I had some lovely bites. I came late, okay? I came from another thing. I came a little late, but Damian hooked it up. I had this tlayuda as a vegetarian tlayuda that had beans on it and purslane and other types of greens. Really super tasty. And they gave me some tacos, like a short rib taco and also some carnitas with, again, great salsas. I will say this every podcast. Damian has the best tortillas in Los Angeles, the best tortillas de nixtamal. And it's always exciting for me to eat tacos there because, okay, I don't need to have tortilla de nixtamal when I'm at a taco stand in Ensenada having fish tacos, but I know I'm going to have that there. So if I'm going to have it, I want it to be pliable, thin, functional, and just really wrap around that guiso. So amazing. And I got to try her ensemble of 8 agaves. And Graciela is doing something very special in Oaxaca. She is cultivating what are traditionally wild agaves because they have to do some sustainable practices there because we are losing the biodiversity. We're losing the wild agaves. So she is cultivating them and growing them. And to get an ensemble is actually a good thing to do because you're not depleting one agave. It's being blended in with others. And so that's an amazing expression from her palenque. Real Minero, buy any bottle. Buy any bottle. It's amazing. But Saturday, I did something kind of crazy. I've done back-to-back nights. Okay, that reminds me of the old blogger days. But I'm 56, man, and I did it. I went to Family Style Fest. And at Family Style Fest, I had some wonderful things. I went there. I showed up at noon to Family Style Fest. I got to the VIP so fast it wasn't even open yet. But so I ran back, and the first thing I hit was Rasa Ruma, Chef Johnny Lee's spot. I've been wanting to go there forever, and I just, this happens, man. We're out all the time. We're going to places all the time, traveling. So I said, okay, here's my chance. I got the Macau pork chop bun. Absolutely perfect sandwich. Wonderful. So I'm even more excited to go to the restaurant. So Chef Johnny, I'll be there. I'll be there soon. And we also hit Moosecraft. I've been to Moosecraft. Well, okay, you'd be surprised. I haven't actually been to Moosecraft that many times. I see them at events, and I walked by and I saw them there. So of course I had to try their Korean pork ribs. So with the Korean flavors, wonderful. I stopped and said hi to our friends and the taquerias. El Artista was there serving carnitas, and also Russo. I didn't actually see El Russo, but he was there. Birreria La Única was there. Those 3 stands were part of a taco crawl by Ben Hundreds. There was like a micro experience within the food festival. Stopped by Detroit for the fish flautas, and then, walked around, had some drinks, and it was hot as hell. So I thought, okay, we want to make sure we get there in time to try as many mezcales as I could. So I got in an Uber and headed over to Mezcal Por Siempre. I did not go the first year. I was out of town. So got there with plenty of time to spare. I went over and had a torta ahogada from Tortas Aguila. Again, a wonderful place. They gave me their spiciest version. They said, you want the spiciest? I go, yeah, it's not that spicy, but it does creep up on you. But I was like, okay, this isn't as spicy as I for some reason I thought it was, but super delicious torta ahogada. And we had Burritos La Palma. They were there too. Ponchos Layudas was there. But I really just wanted to go crazy and hit as many stands. Ivan Vasquez curates an incredible mezcal bar. We all know that at Madre. But everybody there was really special. And of course, there were these famous places like Real Minero was there. And there were many places that I know very well. Malbien and La Locura, places that I was going to try some new expressions. But I do know a lot of their different agaves, and I've had them before. And then there were some that just surprised me, like Mi Gusto Es, and I tried their 100% Sipon. That blew me away. It was not the best mezcal of the day. The best mezcal of the day was from the Chacolo stand that was run. My friend Bryant was pouring. You know him, very famous bartender here in Los Angeles. He used to be at Mirame, and then before that, he was at Madre, and he's always been moving around and doing incredible things in Los Angeles. But he was pouring this Augustafolia agave, and it has a pink label. It was very new, and I have a photo of it, so I will be able to find this bottle, but it had like these spearmint flavors, and these complexities that and a really long finish that just blew me away. So that one and the Mi Gusto Es were highlights of the day. Every mezcal I had was amazing. I did a long tasting of new stuff from Malbien. This is such a good festival to go to. You really can't miss. I mean, people were asking me, what do you recommend? I said, I recommend just going to something you don't know and trust Ivan. He's got good places there. There were some mediocre ones for me personally, but just because I know them and they don't hit with me, they don't resonate with me. But even those ones are good, and especially if you haven't tried a lot of mezcal. So I loved this event, and they had a great turnout. There was a lot of concern again with everything that's going on. I mean, the Trump administration is making it hard to be Mexican in Los Angeles, and this was a largely Latino crowd, and it was nice to see people and even indigenous people there having a good time and enjoying themselves and feeling relaxed and secure. And then from there, I did something I totally did not need to do, is to go to the Manhattan Beach Food and Wine, which was very different from those two events. And I have to say, I went because I had some friends going and I want to see them, but I also kind of wanted to see, hey, can I do this? Can a 56-year-old man still hang like the kids? And I got down there by 7:30, and it was pretty packed down there too. A very different event, as I said, very different audience. But Chef Ray Garcia was there with his Broken Spanish Comedor booth. So I went there and tried that. Drank a lot of wine. There was a lot of wine. Oh, there was a great wine called Copia from a winery from Paso Robles that I had been to before. So I did a lot of pours there. They're a wonderful winery. I drank mostly wine because I ate a lot between family style mezcal por siempre and the bites I had at Manhattan Beach Food and Wine. I was like, okay, I just need to drink some wine, relax. And hey, I did it. I survived 3 events in one day and had a lot of good eats. And last but not least, on Friday, I went to Holbox, and I had not been there in a bit, but I did try something that I don't normally get there, is their grilled fish, their whole brancino with tortillas and beans and salsas. Really nice. I had some oysters, the brancino, the grilled fish, and I got to try some scallops because I was with a friend, and he ordered some scallops and the aguachile scallops. Holbox always is wonderful. A really good week. Okay, so thanks to all the people that fed me. And now, a quick reminder that Taqueando is part of the Acquired Taste family. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast, the LA Food Podcast. That'll be out on Friday. Now, vamos a taquear. Now, when I go on a taco crawl, I'm often taking fellow journalists. That's what I do mostly these days. It's people that I'm connecting. Maybe I've never met a writer before, but that's what we do. We get together. They invite you to some place that they've written about or that they found. I went for a lovely dumpling crawl with Jen Harris of LA Times a couple years ago, and that was amazing. So you go with me, we're going to go on a little taco crawl. It's not always going to be geographically sound trip. We might, be going half an hour in between places, but I want to get all these good things in, But for you, you want places that are going to be fun. Maybe you don't want to spend a whole day. Maybe you want more regional areas like a Boyle Heights, East LA type of crawl. We can talk about that. So first, let's talk about when to go. I always tell people late morning weekends is the best. That's when there are the most options available for you, because nighttime you basically have. So I learned this years ago. I was on tour, Ciudad del Carmen. I played there. We decided to drive to Playa del Carmen, but on the way I stopped in Campeche at night, and I thought, oh my God, Campeche, like seafood. It's right by the ocean. Got to get some mariscos. But we get there really late, and all they had was tacos a la plancha, flat top tacos. So I'm like, oh, of course. This is nighttime. Everybody does grilled meats at night, roasted meats. So carne asada is at night. Tacos de fritanga is something you're going to find at night. The stuff in the discs with the convex center where they and on the well they fry all the offal and suadero and things like that, and they'll sear it in the middle. Those are wonderful nighttime tacos. Tacos al carbón, things cooked on charcoal, things cooked on mesquite. Carne asada, tacos de trompo, that which is your al pastor, tacos árabes, tacos de trompo, tacos de adobada in Tijuana, and also like lots of tacos a la plancha in the night too, of tripe and also lots of fritanga, lots of places that do the fritanga where they fry offal, and then they'll have some meats that they'll do on a flat top. So that's what you're going to find at night. There's going to be no seafood. We don't do that. It's one of those things that started before there was refrigeration, you know, and so seafood was sold in the mornings and the day, but as the day wears on, you don't eat seafood. We still don't do that in Mexico, right? So if you're going to go on a nighttime taco crawl, I always tell people we should do some other foods because you're going to run out of taco styles in Los Angeles. And if you're in most cities in Mexico, you actually will run out of styles. Mexico City is one of the few places where you can go to many different taquerias that are doing, you know, tacos a la plancha or doing tacos de fritanga or doing tacos de al pastor that have taquerias that have lots of options and different takes on dishes and special dishes that only that taqueria does. So you can go all night in Mexico City. That's different. Now, afternoons, you have your tacos a la plancha, tacos dorados, which you'll find at antojito stands and also at cenadurias in the night. Tacos de pescado is an afternoon taco. You know, that you go to Ensenada, that's like late morning. They're going to open up and into the mid-afternoon. Okay. Tacos árabes are also afternoon, but they're open late. Different sausages. The tacos de chorizo are also afternoon tacos a la plancha. You know, Mexico City or going to Toluca where you have chorizo verde and chorizo rojo and longaniza and things like that. Tacos de mariscos, afternoons, and tacos de discada, also afternoon. Some of these things go from afternoon to night, by the way, so don't come at me with this, oh, I've been somewhere where they have it in the, yeah. I just said it. Disclaimer, some of these go all day. In the mornings, though, that's when your birria is. I know we have late night birria here in Los Angeles, but that's because it's Mexican American style, man. And if you open a brick and mortar, you got to pay the bill. So birria at night, barbacoa at night here. But in Mexico, weekend mornings are for birria, barbacoa, carnitas, also mid-morning mariscos, tacos de guisado, sometimes on the weekends, but different ones, more like in a region where they do seafood, for instance, like Tijuana. They'll do tacos de guisado of mariscos in mornings, but also tacos varios, which are their tacos de guisado. Now, weekdays, Tijuana's a little different. Tijuana like has a lot of U.S. influence on their time schedules, but like weekday mornings, that's where your tacos de canasta are, tacos de guisado. In Sonora and Tijuana, you can actually find tacos de carne asada for breakfast. Go figure. So I always say that you can't, it's an evening thing, but in Tijuana, Sonora, there are some places that do that. Tacos de cochinita in the Yucatan, those are tacos de guisado. And you're going to find those again in the mornings. In Mexico City, the tacos de guisado are Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, but never on Sunday. And a lot of those places will not serve on Saturday or Sunday. They're just weekdays for the workers. So that's what you got to think about. Now, we don't have all those styles in Los Angeles. So we don't have a bunch of tacos de guisado stands everywhere. We don't have lots of tacos de canasta. And most of what we do have is from Guadalajara, not Mexico City. So here we go. Taco crawls. So my ultimate taco crawl, like if I'm going to take my writer friend and they're down, like they're going to be all day with me and really go for it. So we're going to start at Barbacoa Ramirez. And this place is amazing. It's the only place of its kind. The owners, the Ramirez family, they raise their own lambs, they feed them, they butcher them, and just have this wonderful cook. They roast it underground, of course, but all their salsas, their sides, their amazing blood sausage, even when you go to Mexico, there are people that don't raise their own lambs. They buy them. And of course, it's easier for them to do that there. But this guy is a real true artisan. There's just nothing like it. So go there. That's where we're going to start. Right there in Arleta, right across the street from the DMV, Barbacoa Ramirez, a very special place. Los Sabrosos. That's the tacos de puerquito echado, the suckling pig tacos with the mustard salsa. Again, something from Nayarit. It's the only place you can go for this in Los Angeles. It's a place that blows me away every time, and everybody that goes with me loves this place. And if they don't, well, they're not getting a second taco tour from me. Kawamanta y Mariscos Lao. Very obscure. I keep that place on my list because it's very special to me. People here don't know Kawamanta. And it's also like, in this little stand, and it's in a row of a bunch of stands. So I assume a lot of people don't make it out to this place. But this is stingray soup with shrimp. And I love going there. Now, they do tacos that are really amazing, but I actually like to just get the stingray soup and make my own tacos with it. And the stand is amazing. One of my favorites. And again, if you go there with me, likely you're probably never going to make it back there again, some of these places, because they're a little far, a little obscure. They're not on TikTok. They're not trending. They don't have some stupid influencer being paid to hype them up. So they just have me and Eater. That's all they got. Casa Gishpak, always. We always go for Maria Ramos's barbacoa enchilada. Always. Always. She's a treasure. I'm going to say that every time I talk about her. She's a local treasure, indigenous Zapoteca chef, traditional cook, and she kicks ass. Her restaurant is amazing. But on the taco crawl, the barbacoa enchilada at Casa Gishpak. The tacos a la plancha at Taquiarte. And we break the rules on this crawl. We get the chilaquiles every time. I cannot go there and not get those. And on another episode, we'll talk about why that's the only place that makes real chilaquiles mexicanos here in Los Angeles. Yeah. You have your whatever. I don't care if you like other chilaquiles, but it's one of those dishes we just don't do very well here in the U.S. You can go to a crap motel in Tijuana and their buffet, and their chilaquiles are going to be better than 90% of the places here. So I don't know why that is. I do know why that is, but it's a salsa issue. There's a special salsa, and that's really important. And there's a ratio thing of cream and cheese that makes the dish very expensive. So people just give you chips and salsa. They don't give you the cream and all that stuff. So anyways, yeah, they'll do the streaks, but that's not the way they do it, man. They dump it on there. It's got to be a lot. So you're teasing us with those streaks. There's actually not very much crema. That has to be there. And those, as I said, those salsas are life-changing. Tacos La Carreta is a crowd pleaser. Everybody loves carne asada. If you don't have any experience with Mexican food or little experience, and even if you have mid-level experience, everybody loves steak tacos. And of course, pros like us, those pros out there that are identifying with me, we love carne asada too. So Tacos La Carreta, again, a perfect version. The salsa tatemada is great. The cook is great. The tortillas, they're torito, where you get carne asada, cheese, and a grilled Anaheim chili is amazing. And then, depending, if you got a good sized group and you can do this, we can kind of count our bites and bite count. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but if you watch your bites, you can hit all these places in one day. I've done it before. And the crowd pleasers, El Momo, Mariscos Jalisco, are places that if they haven't been, they got to go. So we can do all. That's like my favorite taco crawl in that area. And that's going from, Boyle Heights on down to, Ramirez up there in Arleta, all the way down to Carey for Los Sabrosos, going to Pico Rivera for Taquiarte. So that's a lot of driving around. That's a mission. And again, only people that are my people are going to get that tour. Now let's talk regional tours. Okay. So if you want to go out to the Inland Empire, which is worthwhile. Again, I was telling you about Tacos de Cabrito. Tacos de Cabrito y Machito el Lagunero in Moscoy. That's a worthwhile trip, but you don't want to drive all the way out there and only go for that. I would do that. No, I'm going to hit some other places too. But so if you're going to go all the way out there, I recommend stopping at La Sinaloense early. Go there right when they open. This is going to be an early morning out the door. You're going to be leaving the house at 5 a.m. So again, if you don't do that, then again, that's why you're not on a taco tour with me. Okay, that's what people that want to do this, that's what we do. We get up at 5 and we're heading down to La Sinaloense in Pomona for tacos de cabeza, Sinaloa style. This place is amazing. Yeah, they have the offal, but they're caldo de cabeza with tortillas and the tacos de ojo, beef eye, beef tongue, beef brains, beautiful flavor. And the salsas are wonderful. Always there's a salsa verde for that. So the salsa verde has to be very tart and complement that meat. Tacos de cabrito y machito, I talked about them. You go there for everything. Tacos de cabrito, the caldo de cabrito, the machitos, and really just go all in there. And you want to make sure, you get there at a reasonable hour. So that's why I'm saying start early at La Sinaloense. And then you're going to jump down to Riverside. It's only 20 minutes from that area, Moscoy, to Mariscos Los Corchos. And you can call these places, DM them, tell them to hold a fish for you at Mariscos Los Corchos. The pescado zarandeado is out of this world. It's one of the only two places I love in LA for this dish. That's Mariscos Los Corchos and Connie Seafood. I go to Connie Seafood more because it's a lot closer. But Mariscos Los Corchos is really going the extra mile for this dish. You really get a sense of place with what they're doing. There's no one doing it like that. Again, if you time it, you hang out at a bar or something. I don't know what else you can do out there in Riverside, but head over to Senaduría Oaxaqueña Donaí. That's a Oaxacan Senaduría. And this place is doing the best authentic tlayudas from the Valles Centrales. Now, when I say that, I'm saying the best is Poncho's Tlayudas. But Poncho is not from the Valles Centrales, and he does something different. He does this amazing blood sausage, which to me is one of the best pieces of charcuterie in Los Angeles. So the blood sausage, he stuffs the chorizo inside, which they don't do in the Valles Centrales. So he's doing some different things with it. He's taking very small liberties with the traditional dish of a region he's not from, so he doesn't have to follow that. But at this place, Senaduría Oaxaqueña Donaí, these guys are from the Valles Centrales, and they are doing the traditional way. It's beautiful. And the whole setting, it's in their backyard. They've got memelas and other types of dishes that you would have in the evenings in Oaxaca, in the Valles Centrales, which is like Oaxaca City and the area around Oaxaca City, where all those foods are from. A lot of you think that Oaxaca is one thing, like it's tlayudas and quesillo and chapulines and mezcal, but Oaxaca has 8 regions, and guess what? Only one of them uses tlayudas. The other 7 do not. They might have some of those places because they become popular with tourists, your fault, but they have their own cheeses. They have their own tortillas. They have their own dishes. Poncho is from a place that they didn't even grow up eating mole. You're like, oh, Oaxacans eat mole. No, they don't. Not all of them. Some of them do, but many of them don't. Okay? So go to this place. That's a perfect crawl. La Sinaloense, tacos de cabrito y machito el lagunero, Mariscos Los Corchos, and Senaduría Oaxaqueña Donaí. Perfect 4 stops. That's going to take you a while, but you've already driven all the way to Moscoy and Riverside, so it's already a trek. Make it worthwhile. Now, another one I think that's really good is, hey, everybody's hot on Taqueria Frontera for their adobada. So that's a good one. Very popular right now. So go there, go to Evil Cooks in Los Dorados, LA, for tacos dorados. Evil Cooks, they have tacos, tortas, burritos. Burritos are tacos, remember that. With their signature flavors. That's innovative Mexican-American food with a little evil twist. So Frontera for adobada, Evil Cooks for whatever is on the menu that day. Los Dorados for their tacos dorados, any of them are great. The salsas are impeccable there. And they really are doing something unique with those. If you go to Mexico City, the tacos dorados will just be like slopped on, which doesn't affect the flavor. And, crema, cheese, so delicious in Mexico City and so many places that do it well. But Los Dorados really loves every single flauta. They paint on that sauce. It looks beautiful. Every bite is full of sauce. You don't even have to dredge that much. You do in Mexico City. I have to like chase that stuff all over the place. But here, he puts it right on there. And I love that. And great flavors. And then Mariscos El Faro. Mariscos El Faro does have some seafood tacos. And of course, all taco tours can go off script. So have some, tostadas and ceviches and aguachiles at El Faro as well. That's a good round of 4 stops that are close together. So you got, Cypress Park, El Sereno, and Highland Park really close together. That's another good tight crawl. The all Boyle Heights East LA crawl is one I love too. This one is maybe even better than my going crazy and going all over the place. So if you start 10 a.m., okay, I recommend a 10 a.m. start at Barbacush on a Sunday. They only open Sundays. If you go on a Saturday, it's just as good, but you don't get Barbacush. So Barbacush is popping up in Boyle Heights right now, and they're there every Sunday. You should be thankful. They used to be way out in the boonies, Pomona, and now they're here. So go there first, call in and reserve your kilo or half kilo of barbacoa. By the way, I recommend a group of 6 people on these trips, because if you're going to be eating this much, you want to split and, share some of this stuff, especially large format dishes. The taco dorado at Los Dorados, for instance, is long. You don't need to eat a half of that or a full one. You could do a quarter, it just depends. But so get your order in at Barbacush. Also get their mole de panza enchilada. They just call it lamb menudo or menudo, but the correct name for the dish is mole de panza enchilada. So get that. That's a really special dish. If you don't eat menudo, there's all these people out there that say, oh, I love Mexican food, but they really don't know it. I'm like, if you don't eat menudo, I feel like there's a problem. You don't really love it. Okay. Come on. Menudo, that's in all 32 regions. Everybody eats menudo. So Barbacush, then you go to Carnitas al Momo, which we've talked about already. The wonderful cook that they do there. They don't have a lot of cuts, just maciza, buche, cueritos. And sometimes they have pata, and they might have an off cut here and there. So it's just a great cook. It's very simple. I love the cook. And all I'm going to do is have that with a little bit of chiles en vinagre and salsa. I don't use onions and cilantro. By the way, let me drop a bomb here. You do not need to use lime on tacos. Now, here's what I challenge you to do out there. And I'm sorry to break up this crawl with this very important public announcement. The lime is not necessary. I know so many chefs in Mexico and people that, don't use lime. Also, everybody, we're not a monolith of eaters. Everybody some people don't like cilantro in Mexico. Some people don't like spicy food in Mexico. So like, there is no like, oh, you have to do it this way. But I've been taking lime out of so many tacos lately, and there are some where it needs it, but I'm finding, you know what? I like the flavor. So I'll try a bite without lime, and I'll just put a little lime on a bite. And if it tastes better to you, then yes, do that. But I think some of you are just blindly, especially you novices. And when I say novices, I mean even talking about Mexican Americans who didn't really grow up with the tradition in Mexico or haven't, spent enough time there, that you're just putting on lime and you don't even know why. And you're putting too much lime sometimes. I might just do a few drops here and there, but a lot of times I'm really enjoying the flavor without the lime. It doesn't need it. There's acid in the salsas and the tomatoes. And many of if you're using chiles en vinagre, there's acid. So if I'm putting pickle juice on my carnitas that has vinegar in there, why do I need to put lime? Okay, now you're being stupid, right? You're not thinking about it. I obsess and think about every little thing that goes on my taco. Okay, you should too. Now, Birreria Nochislan is my go-to and has been my go-to forever. It's consistently a great birria, and you get it in caldo and make your own tacos with it. Everybody keeps finding places. What kind of blows me away is people are like, oh, there's this backyard place that does this. I'm like, well, if it's not better than a restaurant that already exists with a brick and mortar, that's not interesting to me. It needs to be better or different or special in some kind of way. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't places like that, but a lot of times I see people going crazy over a place just because it's in a backyard and like, oh my God, you know how many restaurants have that dish and do it really well? Like, why? Why are we in this backyard for this when it's not even better? But Birreria Nochislan has incredible birria. Their adobo is classic. It's a recipe that's been around a long time. It's a recipe that still exists in Nochislan, Zacatecas. If you go to the market there, the same recipe is being served there and has been served there for decades. So, we do have a special privilege. We do have the special privilege in Los Angeles of enjoying places that are in Mexico, and we have a branch of them here. Carnitas El Momo is that. So is Birreria Nochislan. Another special place that we really need to support and is perfect on the Boyle Heights, East LA taco crawl is Las Margaritas for their tacos dorados, estilo San Juan de los Lagos. You're going to look at me like, this isn't a taco. Well, they're tacos dorados. They're hollow tacos, and they come with a plate of botanas. So pieces of pork loin and cueritos and cream, and it's like a snack tray, and you eat it with the tacos dorados. And I love this dish, and it's always a surprise. It's something fun. It should be unique. A taco crawl that just has the same trendy carne asada stands and adobada stands is no fun to me. I want to have some adventure, some surprises on the tour. So the tacos dorados at Las Margaritas is super special. Mariscos Jalisco, legendary shrimp taco, perfect tomato sauce, perfect flavor. It hits every time. It's perfection. So we want to go there. Another one right across the street from them, just to a little west of there, is Burritos, an outlet of Burritos La Palma for their burritos de birria de res. So yeah, so go there for their burritos de birria de res at Burritos La Palma. So another, special thing, because we're eating burritos, which are tacos. Again, a little something different. We don't want to just go to the same places or the same styles. And on that same street, you have Los Originales Tacos Árabes de Puebla for their tacos árabes. And I've been going there for years. I also want to point out, my producer tried to call me out for this one time when I was on his podcast, before I got this podcast, that, about me always making sure people know that I'm the one that discovered these places. Well, because people do forget. And then they also try to credit people that didn't discover them or find them or bring them to light. So I want to say Barbacush, Carnitas El Momo, Mariscos Jalisco, Burritos La Palma. I was likely one of the first writers of Los Originales Tacos Árabes. And then another one I'm going to talk about here, Muelle Ocho. My producer's rolling his eyes, but yes, I'm Claim. Like the Walking Dead episode Claim? Claim. That's it. Okay. Asadero Chicali. Wonderful tacos de guisado. The best tacos de guisado in LA. Why? Because the stews are flavorful. They are from a place. They are from Mexicali. You can find them just like that over there. And the tortilla is just like from Mexicali, like you'll find in Mexicali. And again, I'm a prisoner to the concept. So they nail the concept, and other tacos de guisado places, they don't work for me. And some of them even have good dishes. And yes, you can be like, oh, I'm the, Flavor Town guy and I know what's delicious. Well, if I can't pick it up and hold it in the tortilla, it's not a taco. You know what I'm saying? Last but not least, in this East LA, Boyle Heights exchange is Muelle Ocho. Muelle Ocho is a branch. It's now a food truck. It was a restaurant, and then they closed down. They reopened as a food truck. And Muelle Ocho does these incredible seafood tacos from Culiacan, and with the recipes, the same recipes they serve over there. So these amazing, they have a surf and turf taco, but this is definitely, something you should add to add a little bit more seafood. You got Mariscos Jalisco, now you have Muelle Ocho, and again, while you're there, get an aguachile or some kind of botana or something to break it up a little bit. That's your all Boyle Heights, East LA taco crawl. There's so many good places around there. You can even, go for some random places like that you want to try. Add your own to that. Take my list, add 2 more of yours, okay? There's no problem with that. Now, at nighttime, if you go on a nighttime taco crawl with me, I'm likely to go off script again because we don't have a lot of options. I love Tacos La Carreta. And now, I haven't mentioned Sonora Town here, but I love Sonora Town. You can add them to any crawl. I feel like end up at Sonora Town in Mid-City. Sonora Town, Mid-City, which comes with alcohol. You can end up at Sonora Town in Mid-City, have a chimichanga and a glass of wine. Come on, that's actually my lifestyle. You just described my lifestyle. Again, Sonora Town's a crowd pleaser, so you can add Sonora Town to any of these crawls. The nighttime, and I have no problem going to, I do like going to a Sinaloa style, Sonora style, add Sonora Town, and a Tijuana style carne asada. Those are different experiences, and they do have different dishes. So you can get okay, let's do this. So let's game this. For a nighttime crawl, we can differentiate styles of carne asada, but the best way to do it is to actually order correctly. So let's do, let's start at, we can start at Tacos La Carreta, okay? And there, get the torito, because that's the only place that has that dish. So go get the torito at La Carreta. And, by the way, geographically and stuff, I didn't do all that for you. You have a map. You can figure this out, what's best for you. But La Carreta in Whittier, okay? Then you can head west. Go to Don Cuco for Tijuana style carne asada and adobada. Or you could just do adobada there. That's fine too. Now, I want to throw in Tacos Los Huichos. This was my pick on Eater at the time. There's new places that have opened, but it was my pick for the best al pastor or adobada or taco de trompo in Los Angeles. Now, the reason is, again, goes back to that thing where I'm a prisoner of the concept. Los Huichos makes al pastor the way they do it in Mexico. They shave it really thin. It's a good cook, so it's not wet, okay? They cook off and they properly marinate the pork. So when they slice it, it seems like it's a little dry, but it's not. But it's so thin. It's kind of like Iberico ham, where you're eating the layer. You can layer it and you can get those flavors in the layers. When you eat Iberico ham, it's not wet. But it does have moisture, even though it's sort of, it doesn't have like that dripping wet kind of texture to it. Same thing for tacos al pastor. You want it to be thin, super thin, so just like Iberico ham thin, and I want that stacked onto my tortilla, and then I'm going to put my salsas on, and you're going to get plenty of moisture in there, and you're going to get flavorful pork. So I really love Los Huichos for the way they cook and plate their tacos al pastor. So that's my spot, all right? And again, you're saying, oh, there's better spots. No, there isn't. There isn't. There's wet trompos. And we're going to talk about that on another episode. That's going to be a rant and a half. LA, we have a wet trompo problem. And I do not want to eat fucking wet al pastor. We don't do that in Mexico. And so I'm out. If I see that shit on your trompo, wet, or if I see you chopping it off, like this one place, I don't even want to, I've already dragged them so much, but they cut off raw meat in a pile on their plancha and cook it on top of each other. It's so gross. So I don't want that, right? I want what Los Huichos is doing. They're the closest to Mexico City. Are they as good? No. Again, they don't have the economics and all the things that you can have in Mexico to make that happen. But they do have incredible taqueros, and they have a good system and a good recipe, and they do it right. So La Carreta, Don Cuco, Los Huichos, and tacos de fritanga at night are more miss than hits. And a lot of people aren't even using suadero. They're using another cut. And so La Huera has been a place that I've really liked in the past. And I still like them. But I had suadero at Tijuanazo, the LA branch of the Tijuana chain that does adobada and carne asada and also tacos de fritanga. So the suadero at Tijuanazo right now is the best in town. So go there for suadero. You can also, again, if you want to try their adobada and you want to do carne asada at Don Cuco instead, or you want to do a queso taco at Don Cuco, whatever, you can mix up your ordering. So don't just order the same thing. Don't order just carne asada tacos at each one and compare them. That's boring. But of course you can if you want. But I like to mix it up. So you're getting the strengths of that place. Oh, and did I mention that you also want to try the chorreada at La Carreta? The chorreada, again, is a unique recipe you only find at the Mazatlan style carne asada places in Los Angeles. So chorreada, torito, just al pastor at Los Huichos, adobada and carne asada at Don Cuco. And you can do like a queso taco. Tijuanazo for suadero. And if you want to throw in their adobada, you can do that too. You want to do their carne asada or their other tacos. They actually have a lot of options. And it's also a brick and mortar, so you can sit down and relax and chill. They got the air conditioning working. It wasn't when they first opened, but it's nice and cool in there. It looks nice. It's a cool spot. Get a counter seat where you can watch the taqueros. And that's a great way to end your night. So there you go. You have some options for daytime tours, morning tours, far out tours in the Inland Empire, different neighborhoods of Los Angeles. And once you get this down, you can really go to so many different parts of Los Angeles and do this if you learn how to, I think, make the menu interesting and focus on that. And please check out My Eater 38 and read the blurbs. You can learn a little bit about those places to study up before you go. And of course, you can do your own reading outside of that. And, and when you're doing this and you're saying, oh, some of this is too much, again, you can cut out places. But hey, if we're doing the 20-20-40 rule, which is my bite count, 20 bites in the morning, 20 bites in the afternoon, 40 bites in the evening. So think about it. If you have 40 bites in the evening between 8 taquerias, that's enough to get a few bites in, at each spot. And especially if you go light on lunch, if you maybe just do breakfast and you skip lunch, you can really manage it and you won't go home feeling like crap. But if you're eating whole tacos and whole burritos and you want to really pig out, yeah, you might feel this. But do the bite count, 40 bites, space them out. And some of these places, you're going to get it in the first bite. You're going to love it. And it's going to be hard to put it down. But if you do that, you won't feel bad at the end of the night. And you can try a lot of places. And also, isn't it a great time to spread some money around the Mexican community when these ICE raids are going on and all that's happening to our vendors with their businesses being down? Some of them are starting to pick up, but they could use a good night of taco crawling with you and your friends. Get 6 people, get more, tell your friends, share your taco crawl with them, and, share this episode with them. And they can have a few different taco crawls to try. And from a person experienced in taco crawls. And we're going to do this again. We'll go to another town. We'll do Mexico City at some point. We'll do Tijuana, many places. But right now, I thought this would be a good time to talk about Los Angeles. Thank you for hanging with me for 20 episodes. And I'll catch you on the next Taco Crawl. Thank you for tuning in to the Taqueando podcast this week. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode. And please leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcasts.